Three, two, one, rolling. We are here with the incredible Melissa Drake. Thank you so much for meeting us here,
Thank you for
or just
having
seeing
me.
us.
I'm
Just
grateful to be here.
yeah, thank you for being here.
Hmm.
Um, we actually came together.
Thank
Yeah.
you for picking me
How?
up.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming. Yeah,
Absolutely.
for being open to the ride.
Yes.
How have you been?
It's been a journey, but good. Really been working on healing and walking my talk and practicing what I preach. And a lot of that has required more internal downtime and more
Amen.
alone time. And so just been spending a lot of time on my own and processing and getting everything in order to move forward and do a big breakout.
It's beautiful. Yes. Get ready. All
Yes.
right. Get ready. Like
Yes.
before the calm. Yes. Prepare. Um. What would you say? What is healing? What is the like mostly
That's an
like what are you
excellent
doing?
question. So for me, the main thing is um, I didn't really wake up until I was in my 40s. And when I say wake up, I mean realize that I don't have to do things the way I thought that I did or the way society programmed me to do things. So when I actually got very, very sick, is how I woke up. And to me, it was the universe saying, hey, what you're doing isn't in agreement with your soul, and you need to do something different. And it was one of those things like I knew that I wasn't happy at my job and I needed to change my job. I got very sick with two concurrent chronic illnesses, and then I lost my job after 25 years.
Wow.
And so it was a huge wake up call from the universe. And it was an opportunity for me to be like, am I going to do the same thing I've always done? Or am I going to change things up and do something totally different?
Right.
And surprising even to me and most of my family and friends, I went with a totally different route, which was not get a corporate job, become an entrepreneur, and move across the country.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, a risk not many are willing to take,
Yeah,
and it's scary.
it
Yeah,
is a
it's
1000%.
yeah, it's not. It's a it's a dangerous road,
Hmm.
but what it wouldn't be fun without a little danger,
Exactly.
without a little fear factor.
Yeah, there's been plenty of fear factor along the way.
Yeah,
Just being at my age, moving across the country by myself.
that is so
My
big.
parents aren't alive. Like I literally didn't have a safety net or anything. I sold my home, packed up only what would fit in my car, and moved. And we're going on almost 8 years now.
Wow!
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Melissa. High
Thank you.
five. We've been doing these
Absolutely.
all day.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, can I ask what was it with your illness and work? Um, that was it. You weren't able to like physically walk. Like you weren't able to get like go to your job. Like what was happening? What happened?
So two
If
two
I may,
of the
yeah.
grossest illnesses you could get at the same time. The first was a digestive disease where I
Okay.
literally everything I ate went right through me.
Okay.
I lost 110 pounds in 9 months
Hot
because
dog.
I just couldn't retain anything. And then I also was having menstrual problems.
Yes.
One required surgery, so I had a hysterectomy, which took care of the menstrual problems.
Right.
And then once I lost my job and I didn't have to go back to the office, digestive disease went away. So it was very clear to me that it was my body, like literally revolting and being like, are you going to pay attention now?
Wow. Have
And
you been watching any like Jim Carrey speeches or any like wake awakening videos leading up to this, or did you know about it, or?
I had been studying spirituality and woo stuff since the early 90s. So, like, I had an idea of it, but I didn't really understand it until in retrospect. When I was able to look back a couple of years later and be like, oh, that's what that was. Like, that was a wake up call. I didn't realize it at the time. At the time, I was so sick and just really trying to get through the motions. Um, but afterwards, looking back, I was like, oh, that's also the time I started dancing, which was the major catalyst in my recovery and what my first book is about.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
And
that's
even
that
through
is
dancing, like,
Transcendence.
yes,
The book
transcendence.
Transcendence,
Correct.
which is on Amazon, by the way.
Why, thank you.
Yes, you can look that up. That is awesome.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
even
I
dancing.
remember. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry
no,
to
go for it.
interrupt, but
Ring.
you gave me an intuitive reading
Yeah.
from your book
Yes.
on the day of my flea market, which
Yes.
was awesome,
Yes.
unexpected,
That was so much
which
fun.
was even like which made it super awesome. And I remember it telling me just kind of F it and roll with it. Do you know what chapter I'm talking about? What
I have
page?
no idea.
It's just
But
yeah,
that doesn't surprise me at all.
yeah. It was talking about yeah. It was talking about just roll with it. Um,
Yeah.
like and well, yeah, and saying
And
F it.
it's not
Yeah,
surprising because that's been my biggest lesson
yeah.
is to just roll with whatever happens, no matter how bad it looks or feels in the moment. It's obviously what you need or it wouldn't be here. And so just literally roll with it.
Wow,
So like
that is.
my job loss, I was honestly I wasn't surprised. I wasn't crushed and I wasn't really scared. I remember my family being like, "Aren't you freaking out?" I'm like, "No, it's gonna be fine." Like, um, I knew that it happened for a reason. And same thing, like when things don't work out, is to know that that's for a reason too. Often it's redirection when you don't get the job that you want or the house you applied for falls through. To me, that's just indication that something better is coming along.
Oh man.
Yeah. So just being able to roll with that. And I think of it as literal redirection. That's not meant for you. But then comes the part of, are you going to be patient? Are you going to
No.
be patient?
No,
Yeah,
no,
I
no.
know.
Okay, we have no choice, right?
Right.
I mean,
Well, we always have a choice. We absolutely have a choice.
really.
Yeah. Always.
So I can control my destiny. Is
I
that what
believe
you're
you
saying?
can.
Yeah, you think so?
100%.
Okay, okay. That yeah, that's a we can go, you know, out of world with that question, out of space. But okay, we were yes. I'm sorry. You touched an
I know,
emotional
I can tell.
topic.
I
You
can
touched an
tell.
emotional topic. I lost my train of thought now and my words. Um, but okay, we were talking about transcendence in your
Mhm.
first book.
Yep.
Your your illnesses,
Mhm.
causing you to leading you to writing your first book.
Yep.
Wow, was writing always been something you've thought about, or being an author?
Yes. I I've been
And if
writing
so,
since I was a
can
little
you tell
kid.
what you were working where you were working before, and then what you did after? So
So
what were you
yeah,
working as before, and then
I was a director in an insurance company. I started at a very low level, entry level, worked my way up to a director reporting to the CEO. I was responsible for imports.
hmm
So we were an insurance company and we had certain products that we manufactured, but our agents wanted to sell the full scope of insurance products. So I would go out to other insurance companies like John Hancock and New York Life and Allianz and say, we'd like to sell your products. And then I would bring in those products and manage the teams that implemented everything from systems to customer service to all of that. So I managed all of that implementation to bring in to import another insurance manufacturer's product. So lots of cross functional team leadership and writing and all of the things. And when I lost my job, I was like, I really just want to write. Like, my dream job is just to live life and write about it. Um, while I'm doing that, though, I want to help people with mental health issues because I am one of them. And recently, when I was at one of my healing events, a gentleman that I know casually from there, he asked me what I did. And I'm like, well, I'm a writer and I help other people write. And he said, in mental health? And I was like, not really. And he said, everything I've ever seen you post is related to mental health. And I was like, hmm. So maybe I am doing what I set out to do. Like, I didn't even
Yeah.
realize that I was unknowingly doing it because I have this expectation of what it looks like. And I'm not there yet as far as I can tell. But for a virtual stranger who knows me minimally through social media to reflect that back to me was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that helps the feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is where I'm going. It's
Yes.
where I'm at.
Yes.
Okay, so are you writing a book on mental health? Is that the next
So what I
chapter, next
thought
book?
my next book was going to
If you
be.
wanted to get into that.
No, I'm happy to share. I'd love to share. So what I thought my next book was going to be was about parenting and the the generational issues that we deal with as parents and that our children deal with. And so it was a like, this is what I learned from my family, and this is how I changed it for my son. And then the kicker is, this is how my son changed it for me. So an example of a chapter is something like, my mother gave me the silent treatment so I would learn to speak, but my son taught me that he would always be heard. And so that was my plan for the next book, was to talk about all of those lessons that we've learned over the years and how we as parents kind of modify them to help our children, as because we're learning and growing. We have tools that our parents didn't have. And my son has tools that I don't have. I mean, he grew up with the internet. I didn't. Like, I was in my mid 20s when the internet came out. So um, that was my what I was planning, and I'm actually about half done with that. I was half done with that before I wrote Transcendence.
Oh wow!
But recently, like in the last month,
So you put it
I
on hold.
yes.
Okay, pause for a second.
Well, because sometimes the inspiration just comes and you got to run with it. So about a month ago, I got
Sure.
woken up in the middle of the night and with something that I had to write about, and that hasn't happened to me since I wrote my TEDx talk. And
Let's talk about that.
yes.
Okay, where, when did you go on TEDx, and when did you go? What did you talk about, and where can people find it? What's it
Oh, you're so
called?
sweet.
All the good stuff,
So
you
my
know,
talk
'cause
is
I want people to
called
find it.
The Dance of Collaboration.
Dance of collaboration.
And essentially, the premise of it is collaboration is the way to our abundant future. And I presented that in Pasadena in 2019.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing it.
Mm-hmm.
You're in your red dress.
Yes.
I remember that. Wow. Was it
Yeah.
nerve wracking standing up there?
Not at all.
No, no.
No, it was one of the things
You're
that
just
I
in TEDx
felt.
mode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it felt very aligned for me. It felt. I had actually written a version of the talk a couple years before, and then the dance part came in at the end as I was revising it, and that's one of the things that woke me up in the middle of the night. I was like, oh, I have to write about this. So I love the way that it tied in with I hadn't even written Transcendence yet, but I was still in this mode of dance is helpful for the mind and body.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When I've spent so much time in my head, so much time, it's good to get back in my body.
Yes.
Feel myself again,
Yes.
just to get back in alignment with how I feel.
Absolutely.
Wow. Yeah. Yes. Oh my gosh. And oh man, I can go on. I can go to another topic, but I mean I don't want to steer away too far. Um, but you were talking to me about you were writing a parenting book.
Yeah.
You're halfway done with the parenting book,
Yep.
and then you got inspired to do transcendence in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Well,
Or
no, Transcendence wasn't in the middle of the night. Transcendence was
okay,
I took private dance lessons
okay,
with a private instructor because I wanted to learn how to be led. I have been studying masculine feminine dynamics and polarity, and it was obvious to me that I'm clearly often in my masculine because I was a single mom. I just like I had to make ends meet, so I did what I had to do. And I can be a little bit of a control freak. So I decided that dancing would be a way for me to learn how to be led and to like literally submit to the masculine. And when I went to those classes, I did them every week for several months, and it was the best therapy I ever had.
Really?
Yeah.
You
And
went
so
in
then
with
I was
that.
like, I have to write a book about this.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that is
That's
transcendence.
transcendence. Yeah.
Wow.
So the reason waking me up in the middle of the night, what I woke up with something on my mind, I wrote it, and then I as soon as I got done writing it, I was like, okay, that's the first chapter of the next book. And I've decided the next book is going to be called Rude Awakening: Uncomfortable Spiritual Truths I Learned the Hard Way.
We need that.
Yes, we do. I need that.
Yeah, yeah. I need that.
I need that.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah. Um. Can, oh man. It's cause yeah. I think yeah. We've tried to figure ourselves out spiritually, and it can be a rude awakening. You know, once we go all the way in,
Yeah.
something new, and it's like you stumbled upon a pot of gold, and you're like, let's go
Mhm.
in, and that's
Mhm.
that rude awakening. I'm so
Well,
glad you're
and
talking about
sometimes
that.
when you go in, you don't like what you see. It's ugly. And I can't remember what you asked earlier, if it
Yeah,
was even on the podcast, but
yeah,
about what healing looks like.
yeah. What
So
is?
for me, healing is addressing all of that ugliness. So it's literally going inward and saying, oh, that's not so cool. Or that pattern or that behavior, which is really just a coping mechanism for dealing with trauma as a kid, isn't really effective to getting what I want. So, how can I adjust that behavior or my response to someone else's behavior so that I can create more of what I want?
That
That's
is
what
true.
healing is for me. And it's a big for me personally, it's been a massive excavation of getting rid of as Vishen Lakhiani calls it, bullshit rules, like these rules that we grew up that we thought were truth, but when you examine them, you're like, that's not really like. Do I have to have a college degree to make a lot of money? No, I don't. I do, but it's really not necessary. Do I have to work a full time job? No, it's not. And even things like, can I love and accept someone who has completely different beliefs than me? Yeah, I can.
Yeah, you're challenging the status quo.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's not comfortable
Yeah, no.
because you're going against the grain. Like everybody else is going with the flow and doing their own thing. And um, when you start to question the status quo, you're like putting um, a stake in the ground, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Saying
it can.
I'm not fighting for that. I'm not, gonna go, the way the everybody else is going.
Right,
Wow.
right.
Yeah, and they ought to hate that. Like people, it must be
Sometimes they
uncomfortable,
do. It
like
is. Yeah, it is.
that. Yeah, that is such a good thing,
Hmm.
too. Yeah, I
Hmm.
think it serves us well.
Yeah, I think so too.
Um, told myself I wouldn't say so much.
It's okay.
I'll take out my filler words here. There we go. It's unconscious. Um, okay. Where were we? We were. Yeah, we were talking about healing, challenging the status quo, and after the status
And most
quo,
of that status
yeah,
quo,
yeah.
I'm not challenging other people.
Okay, right, right.
It's my own beliefs. It's
Yeah,
my own patterns. It's, it's like, is the am I getting the results that I want? Typically not. So what do I have to do to get the results that I want?
Yeah.
And it's not about making someone else different or making them change, or I mean, sometimes we want to change the system,
Yeah.
especially in work. I did that a lot. um,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
and I
Yeah,
still
I don't
do.
like this. I don't agree with. And try to change it, right?
Yeah,
But you're right.
yeah,
Uh,
but
like,
it's really a very internal process,
amen.
um, and
I agree.
going inward a lot, like really meditating, being in the stillness and thinking about, like, I mean, I knew that I wasn't happy in my job, and my intuition was telling me to leave, but I didn't.
Yeah.
And so I got a huge wake up call, which was a severance package and a dismissal.
Wow. I I was I was so scared. I'm so scared of missing that that intuitive message. Like
Yeah,
something happens. I'm like, okay, is that it?
yeah.
Because I don't want to miss it. But
Well,
at the same time, it's like, oh well, my inaction, speaks for itself. I think
right,
like I'm
absolutely.
worrying about something that's isn't even happening. So
Yeah.
it's so
And I will tell you, my
yeah.
favorite quote, probably of all quotes, and I've been collecting quotes since I was a kid. Like, I literally used to cut them out of magazines. Um, it's by Abraham Hicks, and it is, "You can't get it wrong, and you never get it done." So, no matter what you choose, the universe is still going to align to support you in that choice.
Yeah.
And you, like, healing, for example, you literally never get it done. As soon as you get to a point where you're like, oh, I can breathe, it's like, oh, here's time for another dark night of the
Bam.
soul. Oh, you didn't address that, so we're gonna go here again.
Oh
So it's
yes.
an ongoing process, and life itself is a process, right?
Mhm.
So,
Right.
like, just being able to continue to move forward and go with the flow as much as possible is the best thing you can do from my perspective.
Mm. Yeah, I get that feeling too. I want to be like, oh, I'm there. I got it already so much. I'm like, I can put the work down. I can
Mm-hmm.
drop. But no, it doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
No.
so. What would your advice be? I know they ask this question a lot, in podcasts. What would your advice be to your 20-year-old self? And I've never asked
I'm gonna
anybody
try
that.
not to cry when I think about
Oh,
that.
please. Oh, it's okay.
Um, this is actually a really good example
Jeez.
of, you can't get it wrong and you never get it done. Because my 20-year-old self got married thinking that I was too old, that it was time for me to get married because I was in my 20s. So, and I don't regret it. I'm obviously divorced, right? I don't regret it because I have the most amazing, gonna be 29-year-old son now. But what I would say to my 20-year-old self is, those feelings and those knowings that you have are important, and it's okay to follow them, even if nobody else believes, nobody else trusts. Like, when you're not supported, when you're doing something different than what's expected, to do what your 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 literal physical body is telling you to do. Because if you don't, you're gonna get sick.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
because that's
crazy.
exactly what happened. Like, legitimately, that's exactly what happened to me.
So it's in our body. The answer's in our body.
I believe that, yes. And for me, the body is the last frontier. I mean, you can tell I'm not physically fit.
Yeah.
So for me, and like, I lost all of that weight when I was sick, and then I started gaining it back shortly after I moved to California. Um, and for me, the weight is generally a time when I didn't speak my truth, or when I didn't follow my intuition, when I tried to fit in, when I went inside of a box instead of being the outside of the box. So, like right now, you can see like I, I've not been listening as heartily as I am listening. It's more like stuck in fear about taking action.
Oh, I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, like I said, it's a coping mechanism. And there's value in that too. So I'm trying to have compassion with myself for the process as well, because for me, like I said, this is the last frontier. Like I feel like I've covered the family stuff, I've covered the forgiveness, I've covered, all of the different painful aspects of my life, but the physical body is the the last piece
The
for me.
final frontier.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay. So is okay. So is there anything? So would you say your health is the most important thing right now? Just your health.
I think that's always most important.
Most important.
But I'm not sure that I know I haven't prioritized it in the
Yeah.
past.
Yeah.
So, um, yes, that is the most important and something that I am prioritizing.
Okay.
And health isn't just how you look physically. So
Oh.
there's a lot in that.
Yeah. Amen. Amen. Yeah. 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 Our body has to do a lot with how I'm feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Um. Not only do I was thinking about something today. Oh my gosh, I feel like I'm talking a lot about. I was. But I was thinking today how I was acting out of my thoughts. For
Mm.
example, when I'm acting from my thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
that's when I get distracted or when I trip
Yeah,
because I'm paying attention to those thoughts. So
because you're in your mind,
I'm in
right?
my mind, yeah,
Right.
and I act out of those thoughts. And so I thought, okay, if my brain is a is a frequency,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like channels, they say just change the
Yes.
channel, right?
Yes.
So I got to change my action.
Yes.
That's the intent, right? I got to change
Yes.
my action in order to change my thought.
Yes.
So before my thought was in fear, so my thought was in fear, and now I'm acting out of fear, like, oh my, I hope I don't spill this. I hope I
Yes.
don't drop this.
And then you probably will
And then
because
I'm
you
because
you
I'm
gave it attention,
I
right?
gave it attention, yeah.
Yep.
And then I'm I'm not acting outside of it. I'm acting in it. So because I'm
Yes.
just thinking about
Yes.
so so I know like I know I've heard people say your thoughts create your actions. They do. We see that in that case, fear, acting out of
Mm-hmm.
fear. That's when we make mistakes
Yep.
out of fear, or when I make mistakes. So I thought about, okay, what if I change the channel? Okay, what
Yeah.
if I change my action
Right.
in order to change my thoughts? So
Yes.
I thought about today, and I was doing good. I
Yes.
felt good. I was like, all right. Instead of thinking, all right, I hope this person isn't thinking da da da, etc.,
Right.
etc.,
Right.
etc. I'm like, okay, let me out of line myself with that,
Yes.
with that concept that change my body,
Yes.
you know. Let me go in this direction instead.
Yes.
So like an antenna or
Excellent
like changing my
work.
channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought that worked. Yeah, it did. It did.
Good.
Yeah. So that was something I was thinking about today. Is you know we hear, okay, thoughts lead to action, but how about when we just can't change our thoughts? It's just the attention's going straight there. Okay, let me change my action. Let me just
Yeah.
kind of tweak the antenna. Okay, I thought about my fear is telling me I'm trapped and I'm going to like go this way. Okay, let me change my body and I'll go this way.
Yeah. So
So
movement for me is the
yeah,
best way to do that. Like I'll dance or go for a walk, go on a hike.
change the channel.
Yeah. or literally just shake my body and move. And like I'll be moving in weird contorted ways just to
Yeah.
release energy and, you know, change things up a bit.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so you like afternoon walks?
I do.
Yeah.
I like morning better,
Morning.
especially in the fall
Yeah.
because it's crisp.
Yeah. What
Like
time?
like 7ish.
7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The sun's just coming up.
Yeah.
Okay, the sun's probably at its freshest peak because
Yeah.
it's fresh at the
And
same
it's
time.
good for you to get sunshine first thing in the morning too. It helps with your
Oh.
circadian rhythm.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
My circadian rhythm is
What
my
helps you sleep?
what helps me sleep.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay. Um, okay, so waking up or getting sunshine around 7 a.m., going for a walk. What time should I be asleep then?
Oh, I don't.
Right.
That's up to you. Like
That's up to me.
that
Oh,
totally
okay.
depends on you. It's
Okay.
all different for every person.
Right.
Like that's. I like to go to bed early. I don't always fall asleep early, but I go to bed early,
Okay.
like by 10 for me.
That's good.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
Yeah.
You can prioritize sleep. That's big. That's big. You wake up feeling like when I go to sleep really amazing. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's like getting to anything early, like going early to anything. It feels good.
Yeah.
Just
It
being
really
early.
does. Yeah.
So I think being early to bed
Yeah.
definitely helps get the
Mhm.
morning off to a great start. Um, yeah, amazing. Um, I don't know. Is there anything you want to talk about? Anything you want to? This is your time. This is your spot.
I
You want
just
to talk about? Because you're
well, I'm going
more
to
than free
be
to, man.
I'm going to be starting
Speak
a
and speak.
with some really cool people, a silent disco book writing challenge.
Awesome.
So
How's
we're
that working?
we're bringing we're bringing the books, we're bringing the movement, we're bringing neurolinguistic programming, breath work. We're bringing a really great crew together to help people write their books. So NaNoWriMo is a National Novel Writers Month in the month of November. So all over the world, people sign up for I'm going to write a book in the month of November. I've signed up for it many times. I've never actually written a book. Actually, Transcendence, I wrote the first draft of that over Thanksgiving weekend in 2019.
Wow.
So I did
Okay.
I did do that. But anyway, a lot of
Yeah.
people sign up for this and
In
they
one
never
weekend?
actually do it. Yeah, I did.
Wow.
That's only the first draft, which is the very beginning.
Oh,
So, there's edits and all of that. But
yeah.
I did. I literally put Transcendence together over a weekend because I had so much coming through from the dance lessons that I had taken.
Yeah.
And then I've also been writing for years. So there was a lot of content that I was able to repurpose and plug from different articles or Facebook posts or different things that I had written that I plugged in. And that's part of, I have a great process to help people create a book from scratch. So you can go in 10 steps, start with nothing, and then finish with a published book.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
So I'm going to walk people through that process. And again, I've got 4 other coaches with me, and they're all really great people. And we're going to have instructional time, and then the rest of the time will be body doubling time where we just work together on Zoom. So I'll be writing my book, and everyone else will be writing their books.
Great. Like
Yeah. So
collaborating
community. Yep.
in the community.
Yep.
Awesome. Awesome. Oh man, that is great. That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Incorporating the community, writing a book. Um, do you think everybody should write a book? Do you
I
think it's for
do.
everybody? Do you think what's the
Yes and
spiritual
no.
experience? The
So,
yes and no. I
yes
like
and no.
that. You know.
I just made a post today. So one of the coaches that's joining the team
Yeah.
has published 50 books, and he was had never considered writing a book before. And I was like, you should write a book. So he wrote a book with me. It's amazing. It's called No Bad Tides, and he's a surfer, and it's
Awesome.
great history of surfing in his life, but the real message of it is basically go with the flow, the same thing that we talked about earlier, how to adapt to life when you don't know what the conditions are going to be. So he's big on
Right
let's make
now,
everyone.
like right now.
Oh, not right
Uh,
now.
oh no, not like right now, or like
Like
not
just
at
in
Panera,
general.
but oh, it's in general. Okay, I'm saying like in the world, like in
Oh
the
yeah, there's
yeah,
craziness in the world right now.
yeah,
But there are people who are like, I just want to put something out there to say that I'm published. And people are writing AI books or putting more of a just a journal. Like my third book is a journal too, but like
yeah.
without any content. And no,
Okay. Oh
or
yeah.
or worse than that is someone who writes a book and doesn't have it edited and just they go straight from writing to publishing. And I'll tell you, my first draft of Transcendence, my editor, he was like, Melissa, did you just put this together to say you wrote a book? Because this isn't quality. Like this isn't a final book. So it's really taking the time and the effort to make it your best work. The other thing that happens when you're writing a book that's way different than using AI or a ghostwriter to write for you is that there is, I don't know the science behind it, but there is an alchemical process that takes place when you write because it helps you process your emotion. So I often say, I don't know what I think until I write. And when you're writing, you're actually healing part of yourself. And you're putting that emotion, you're putting your heart into the book. I had so many people after they read The Orgasmic Entrepreneur say, that book changed me. And my answer was, I don't know how that happens. I don't know why that happened, but cool, that's great. And if I knew exactly how it happened, I would be so much more intentional with my words so that I could help people in a positive way. And not that I'm not already helping them positively, but I would be even more intentional. You know what I'm saying? I'd be even more particular about the content that I put in books. So, does everyone have a story? Absolutely. Does it belong in a book? Not necessarily. Um, what I've found in work, I've been working with authors since 2015. And while the details are different, our stories are all the same. And in order to get a reader to buy into your story, you have to tell them what's in it for them. So a lot of people want to write a book from an egoic standpoint of, oh, I have to tell my story. I've got this amazing story. And I was one of those people too. And Transcendence is probably kind of on that side. Um, but everybody has a story. Everyone has a story. How can you take your story and relate it to something bigger than you? So, like Transcendence is an example. Okay, this is my story, but I'm relating it to dance concepts. And so everybody knows dance. Like I'm editing a book for a woman right now who it's her life story, which is tragic, but then she's also taking it and overlaying the chakra system and relating her life story to the chakras and how they're illuminated or um, dulled based on our life experiences. So to just share your story, no, that's not book worthy in my opinion, unless it's something you're writing for your kids or you just want to share with the family. But something you want to share publicly that you really want other people to buy into, it has to be bigger than you. It has to be bigger than your story.
Okay, and I do that by relating it or getting my story, and plus, how can I relate it to something bigger than me? Equals the result, the
Equals
solution. The
equals interest.
Interest equals interest.
equals interest. So your story plus relatability equals interest from a reader.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
We just made that up on the
Seeing it.
spot. Way to go.
Awesome. Yeah, we did that. There we go. Another high five. No worries.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Awesome. Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, have you ever
And
read somebody's story and you're just like, okay, great. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like,
I have. I have. Uh, I'm just blown away by somebody's like story. Like when I actually meet somebody and
yes,
get to know them. Like
yes.
wow. Like I'm so. What's the word? Like easy to impress. Like I'm so. Like
You're easily
I'm
entertained.
easily. Yeah. I'm like wow. Like you wrote a book. It's dark blue. Like wow. Like I'm amazed. Or like my or what's it called? Like my friend Megan from high school too. She's
Uh huh.
a writer and
Yeah,
she wrote a book in high school, and I was like, she wrote a book. Wow,
yeah. Speaking
or
of that, I
seeing
found a book
people.
that I wrote in high school. I just found it like last year.
Yeah, well, is it poems or why don't you
No,
publish it?
I
Maybe for like little Melissa, little,
you
your
know who it was
Melissa.
for is my son.
Don't,
I
don't make me
actually
cry.
I
You're gonna
know
make me.
no.
Don't make me
Oh,
cry.
dude, wait till you
No,
hear it.
please, no,
Wait.
please. Sorry, go ahead.
So I'm 17 years old. I don't even remember this. I'm
Yeah,
17 years old.
yeah.
I wrote a book to my children because I wanted to remember what it was like to be a child. And so I wrote about all of the challenging things that I was going through in high school. Namely, I'm going to the richest high school and I don't have any money and I'm working 3 jobs to try to keep up with my friends. I This is back in the day when we didn't have cell phones, we had a landline,
Yeah.
and my girlfriend called at 11:30 p.m. My parents answer the phone and
Yeah.
get mad because nothing good happens at this hour. Like
It's
all the things that we don't even consider today that were a huge major issue for me back then. So I wrote all of these things, completely forgot that I wrote about it, found it, gave it to my son. A couple days later, he calls me. He's like, Mom, I get it. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I read the book. I understand why you are the way you are. I understand what you went through as a kid. I see you. And that was, I mean, my son and I have had some amazing conversations, but that one is on the top of my list because he was just like, I get it. I completely understand now. I know what you were dealing with. I know why this is happening. And a lot of what I wrote about was financial stuff. And I haven't been a great financial steward, but he is. And so I recognized him for, I said, you are the one who's going to change the financial trajectory for our family. You're the one that's going to make that difference. And he said, I couldn't have done that if you hadn't addressed everything else.
wow.
And this whole time, like all this work that I've been doing, all the healing and all of the like fighting back with my family and doing things different, I didn't think he saw that at all. And so for him to acknowledge it in such a big way was like, mm, that was massive.
Yeah, like I deserve that, Melissa. Like you
Yeah,
gave yourself that pat on the
I
back.
did. I totally did. Especially coming from him. I mean, he means more to me than anything in this world. And so for him to say that he saw me and that I can see the work he's doing and he can see the work that I'm doing, that was everything.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a special relationship.
It really is. We are blessed. We are a
Yeah,
thousand
yeah,
percent blessed.
yeah. You are blessed.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm so glad you said I'm blessed. Some people say I'm lucky. Now you are blessed.
My parents used to always say about my son, he's so spoiled. And I'm like, no, he's not spoiled. He's blessed, as am I. And same thing, I don't believe in luck either. Like, no.
Same.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's a
I just
blessing.
yeah. I just have trouble explaining it sometimes, like why it isn't. But no, I thought about it like the other day, and I was like, I am blessed. Like I'm
Yeah.
not lucky. I am blessed.
Yes.
And I don't know. The more I've been telling myself that, the more I've been seeing it appear.
Yes.
In my life, like,
Yes.
wow, I am blessed.
You are.
I am blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're a blessing.
Thank you, Melissa.
You're welcome. You are.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Breathe that in.
I'm trying to. I got
I
short
know.
breaths here.
I know it's awkward and
I was.
uncomfortable sometimes, but yes.
Oh, but it feels so good. It
Yeah.
feels so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you for
You're
addressing that.
welcome.
Thank
Of
you.
course.
That's beautiful. Do you want to wrap it up here? I think
Sure.
there's so much we can talk about.
We can talk for hours.
We can. Um, but I'd like to talk to you more.
We can always do another episode.
I love that.
I would too. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa.
Of course.
I appreciate that.
Appreciate
God
you.
bless you.
Bless
You have a wonderful life.
Absolutely.
And a wonderful day.
Yes.
Thank you, Melissa Drake.
Thank
and
you.
we are here with the incredible Melissa Drake again at Live from Panera. So don't mind the music. But thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching this episode with the wonderful Melissa Drake. You can find her books on Amazon. You can look for Transcendence, The Orgasmic Entrepreneur, this third medicine book for you medicine folks that love medicine. Um, Plantas Sagradas, Sacred Plant Medicine. Or you can go talk to a friend. If you don't like that, if you don't like plants, you can just go talk to a friend.
Absolutely.
And that is wonderful. That is all we have for today. Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Appreciate
Absolutely.
you.
Yeah.
Cut.
Very
That's
cool.
it. That's awesome.